Sarah stood alone on the Oregon pier, the cold rain soaking through her clothes. Her phone buzzed with another sharp, painful text, but her eyes remained fixed on a faded photo from 5 years ago, a smile that no longer exists. Around her, the Pacific Ocean roared in a violent, chaotic storm, yet inside her heart there was only a heavy, dead silence. Why do we let ourselves be broken by who someone is today, just to protect the memory of who they used to be? Sarah walked slowly toward the end of the pier, where an old man sat under a small wooden roof. It was old Elias, a retired captain who had spent 50 years at sea. He was busy mending a large, tangled fishing net, his weathered hands moving with a quiet, steady rhythm. He didn't look up when Sarah approached, but he could feel the heaviness she carried. Sarah watched him for a long time. The sound of the rain hitting the wood was the only noise between them. Finally, her voice broke the silence, trembling with exhaustion. "I don't know what to do, Elias," she whispered. "He hurts me. He isn't the same man anymore, but I can't leave him. I can't." Elias paused his work. He set down his needle and looked out at the gray horizon, giving Sarah the space to continue. "I still remember the first summer," Sarah said, a small, painful smile appearing on her face. "He was so kind. He made me feel like I was the only person in the world. Every time I try to walk away, I see that man. I see the version of him that I fell in love with." Elias remained quiet, letting her words hang in the damp air. He knew that Sarah wasn't talking about the man who had sent those angry texts. She was talking about a ghost. She was trapped in a house built of old photographs and echoes of laughter that had long since died out. "It's like I'm waiting for him to come back," she added, her eyes filling with tears. "But the more I wait, the more I lose myself." Elias finally turned his gaze toward her. His eyes were full of a deep, patient compassion. He didn't tell her she was wrong. He didn't tell her to be strong. He simply reached out and touched the rough, salt-stained wood of the dock. He knew that Sarah was holding on to a version of someone who no longer existed, loving a memory while the person in front of her continued to break her heart. Elias stood up slowly, his joints creaking like the old wooden pier. He pointed to a massive, rusted iron anchor lying half buried in the dark mud near the edge of the dock. It was thick with barnacles and smelled of salt and decay. "Sarah?" Elias said, his voice steady and calm. "I need your help. Grip that chain and help me pull this anchor up onto the boards." Sarah looked at him confused. She wiped a stray hair from her damp face. "But, Elias, there's no boat. That anchor isn't attached to anything. It's just stuck in the mud. Why would we move it?" "Just pull," he replied simply, his eyes fixed on the horizon. Sarah hesitated, then stepped forward. She grabbed the heavy iron links. The metal was freezing and slimy. She pulled with all her strength, her boots sliding on the wet wood. She groaned, her muscles aching and her breath coming in short gasps. But the anchor didn't budge. It was buried deep, anchored to nothing but the cold weight of the earth itself. Finally, she let go, leaning against a post to catch her breath. She looked down at her hands. They were covered in black, foul-smelling mud and streaks of orange rust. "It's impossible," she panted. "And it's pointless. Why are we wasting our strength on an anchor that has no ship?" Elias sat back down on his bench. He looked at the anchor, then back at her. "You are right, Sarah. It is pointless." He let the silence linger for a long moment, allowing the sound of the crashing waves to fill the space between them. "This anchor," Elias began softly, "once served a great purpose. Years ago, it held a beautiful ship steady during the fiercest storms. It kept the crew safe. It was a symbol of security. It was necessary." Sarah looked at the rust on her fingers, listening intently. "But look at it now," Elias continued. "The ship is long gone. The timber has rotted away, and the sea has changed its course. Yet the anchor remains. It is no longer protecting a ship. It is only holding on to the mud. It is heavy, it is dirty, and it is exhausting you for no reason at all." He leaned closer, his voice like a gentle breeze. "Your memories are that anchor, Sarah. You are holding on to the version of him from years ago, the man who was your safe harbor. But that man is gone. The person in front of you today is not that ship. By staying, you aren't protecting your love. You are just exhausted, covered in the rust of a past that no longer exists. You are staying for a ghost. And if you don't let go of the chain, you will eventually drown right here on the shore." Sarah looked down at her muddy palms. She realized that her pain wasn't coming from her heart, but from the impossible weight of what used to be. Sarah looked at her mud-stained hands one last time, then slowly opened her fingers. The heavy iron chain fell back into the muck with a soft, final thud. For the first time in years, her shoulders felt light. The rain was still falling, but the storm inside her had finally begun to clear. Elias smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners with a quiet warmth. "Remember this, Sarah," he said gently. "Memories are meant to be cherished as treasures of where you have been, not used as chains to keep you from where you are going." From today's story, we learn a difficult but beautiful truth about the human heart. We often stay in painful situations because we are loyal to a version of a person that no longer exists. We believe that by leaving, we are betraying the beautiful moments we once shared. But the truth is, people change, and sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to accept that reality. Walking away isn't about forgetting the good times. It's about realizing that those good times belong to a chapter that has already ended. Loyalty to your past should never come at the cost of your future. You deserve a love that exists in the present, not a ghost that haunts your memories. Let your past be a lighthouse that guides your way through the dark, but never let it be the anchor that holds you underwater. Stay calm, be kind to your heart, and remember that it is okay to let go. If you find yourself holding on to a weight that is too heavy to carry, type freedom in the comments to start your new journey today. I wish you peace on your path.